You know, when we talk about the great wars of the Mahabharata, everyone's mind immediately jumps to Kurukshetra, right? But what if I told you that long before that massive conflict, an even more personal, more intense duel took place? A fight between two immortal legends. We're talking about Bhishma versus Parshuram.
And get this wasn't some quick one-and-done battle. This duel raged for 23 days. Just let that sink in for a second. 23 days of non-stop, earth-shattering combat between a teacher and his greatest student, no less. So the big question is, what on earth could have caused a fight like this?
All right, so this is the War of Immortal Warriors. Picture this. We're on the sacred banks of the Saraswati River. This is the stage for our showdown, a place where two absolute legends, both immortal, are about to clash in a battle that's literally going to shake the heavens.
So, who are these two titans clashing? Well, in one corner, you've got Bhishma Pitamah, the guardian of the Kuru clan, a man completely defined by this incredible, unbreakable vow he's taken. And in the other corner, Parshuram. He's a Brahmin warrior, which is already a bit of a contradiction, and he has this massive chip on his shoulder against the entire Kshatriya warrior class. But here's the real kicker, the big twist in this whole thing. Parshuram was Bhishma's guru. He's the one who taught Bhishma how to fight in the first place.
Okay, so this brings us to Amba's dilemma. You have to be wondering, right? What could possibly pit a student against his own master, two immortals against each other? It wasn't for a kingdom, it wasn't for a throne. The cause of this epic war was the fate of one single princess, a woman named Amba, who was caught in a tragic spiral of events.
Let's just walk through this absolute tragedy, step by step. First, Bhishma kidnaps Amba and her sisters, intending for them to marry his half-brother. Pretty standard stuff for the time, I guess. But then Amba speaks up. She says, hey, I'm in love with someone else, King Shalva. So Bhishma, trying to do the right thing, lets her go. But then she gets to Shalva and he rejects her. He says she's been won by another man, so his honor is tarnished. So she goes back to Bhishma, desperate, and begs him to marry her. But he can't. He's bound by that famous vow of his. Can you imagine? She's rejected by everyone, left completely alone and dishonored. It's just devastating. So now we have student against teacher. Because Amba, filled with this burning rage and a desperate need for justice, does something incredibly bold. She seeks out the one person on earth she thinks can stand up to Bhishma, his own teacher, the fearsome Parshuram. And yeah, this is where the spark hits the powder keg. So Parshuram summons Bhishma. He listens to Amba's whole story, and man, his decision is immediate. He lays it out for Bhishma, just like this. You are a Kshatriya. A Kshatriya's duty is to protect a woman, fight. See, for Parshuram, this wasn't about personal feelings. It was about Dharma, about sacred duty. He saw it simply. Bhishma, as a warrior, had failed in his duty to protect this woman's honor, and there was only one way to settle it, a fight.
And this is Bhishma's impossible choice, right? He's trapped between two different powerful dharmas, his duty to obey his guru and his duty to uphold his sacred vow. He has to pick one. And for Bhishma, the choice is crystal clear. The vow comes first. So he agrees. He agrees to raise his weapons against the very man who taught him how to use them.
And with that, we get to the 23-day battle. I mean, the stage is set. For 23 straight days, that riverbank turns into a battlefield of epic proportions. And we're not just talking about swords and arrows here. No, this was a full-blown clash of divine cosmic power.
Day 1. Right out of the gate, Parshuram doesn't mess around. He completely shatters Bhishma's chariot with a storm of arrows. A clear message, the master is not holding back.
But Bhishma fires right back. Day 2. With absolute precision, he takes out Parshuram's charioteer. The playing field is instantly leveled. You can tell right away, this is going to be a fight between equals.
And as the days just blur into one another, the battle escalates into something else entirely. They both start pulling out the big guns, the divyastras. We're talking celestial weapons, packed with the power of the gods. You have firestorms meeting blizzards, divine light clashing with pure darkness. Every single time Parshuram unleashed some crazy powerful weapon, Bhishma had an answer for it. It was a perfect, brutal stalemate. And this leads us to the climax, the miracle of the Vasus. Okay, so we're on day 23 now. Both of them are exhausted, but neither has given an inch. It feels like this could go on forever. And that's when Parshuram decides, okay, that's it, and prepares to end it once and for all.
Realizing that nothing else is working,
Parshuram unleashes his ultimate weapon, his final, truly unstoppable astra. As this thing hurtles towards Bhishma, you've got to think, this is it. This is the end. Even for the great Bhishma, there's no way he can survive this.
But facing total destruction, Bhishma does something unexpected. He doesn't reach for another weapon. He doesn't try to dodge. He just stops. He closes his eyes, and in his mind, he calls out to his ancestors, his father, and these 8 divine beings called the Vasus.
And just as that weapon is about to hit him, a brilliant divine light just pours down from the sky. It doesn't block the weapon, it just absorbs it. The energy is completely neutralized. The unstoppable weapon was stopped dead in its tracks. Imagine the silence. Parshuram, the gods in the heavens, everyone is just stunned.
So, what just happened? Well, this is the big secret to Bhishma's power. He wasn't just some guy. He was the human incarnation of the Vasus, a group of 8 powerful elemental gods. That's where his incredible strength came from. And in his darkest moment, his own divine nature basically stepped in to save him.
And this is what you could call the victory of the vow. Because the fight didn't end with a final, explosive blow. It ended with this quiet moment of understanding. The dust settles, the light fades, and suddenly everyone gets what this was really all about.
So what's the aftermath? Well, Parshuram, totally humbled by this miracle, puts down his axe. He finally gets it, that Bhishma's commitment to his vow is a force of nature in itself, as powerful as any weapon. So they call it a draw, with a newfound respect for each other. But what about Amba? For her, there's no happy ending here. She's still left with nothing, and her grief and rage turn into this cold, hard resolve. She vows that she will be reborn, and that she will be the one to finally bring about Bhishma's end.
When you boil it all down, this whole 23-day ordeal was the ultimate test for Bhishma, and it proved beyond any doubt that his vow was absolutely unbreakable. It was his greatest weapon, his strongest shield. He wouldn't bend for a princess in distress, he wouldn't bend for his guru's command. His word was absolute.
And that really leaves us with a huge, fascinating question, doesn't it? When 2 right paths collide, does anyone truly win? Think about it. Parshuram was fighting for a righteous cause, defending a woman's honor. Bhishma was fighting to uphold his righteous, sacred vow. When 2 powerful, moral duties go head-to-head like this, is it even possible for there to be a real winner? It's something to think about for sure.